Yeah, why geometry? I mean, when you think about geometry, we generally associate it with mathematics, boring tests, and all this stuff. So, and also we think about engineering. Um, the thing about, for me, what really hooked me into geometry was not the human aspect, was not the math, it was not the engineering, it was the nature aspect. When I started studying nature more in depth, there was a lot of chaos. Nature is primarily chaos. But there was order there, and I was trying to understand it. And the beautiful thing about geometry is that it is universal. You cannot argue with geometry. It's true. It's truth. And the other thing that I like about geometry is the metaphorical aspect, which is that, for example, if you think about a circle, what is a circle? What is a circle? Well, a circle is, mathematically speaking, a collection of points. But the key is that they're all equidistant to a center. So to me, that has a metaphorical aspect to it when you think about coming together around a common goal, for example. There's no better shape than the circle to embody that. And so within that, there's a kind of, for me, geometry became like a re-enchantment of the world. When I had become a teenager and was nihilistic and I was like, everything is bullshit, geometry kind of made me be like, wait a minute, there's like magic all around us. For me, it's not a coincidence that the moon and the sun are circular in shape, that our eyes are circular in shape, that a drop, when it falls into the surface of the water, creates circular ripples. It's all because nature really finds the most efficient ways to manifest itself. So I found in the geometric language a kind of magical key that I could just be like, well, this is a circle. What happens if I divide the circle? How many parts can I divide it in? What is in there as far as elements to play with? And then you start looking into geometry in nature, and it's everywhere. From the quantum world, you see two particles collapse, or like, what's that called when they shoot electrons into each other?
Yeah, in the particle accelerator.
Yeah, the particle accelerator. And so if you look at those interactions, they're all just making little spirals. And then you look at galaxies, and they're spiral in shape. And then you look at snowflakes, and we all know that, snowflakes are all different to one another. But they're also all hexagonal. They all have 6 sides. There's no exception. And they're all different. So there's like an infinite nature to this kind of repetitive process. It's really fascinating to me. I'm always, and then flowers, it's like they have 5 and 6 petals, and 7 petals, and 10. And then you get into the Fibonacci sequence and how that manifests in nature. I think a lot of people think that sacred geometry is kind of like a superficial, new agey kind of thing. And I myself criticize that heavily. It's like when people start talking about, all this stuff. But I think that if you're very skeptical and scientific, you can also find geometry in nature. The golden ratio is just a harmonious proportion, and it just makes sense. Like, nature is so intelligent that it wouldn't have any other ratio to make the parts of a whole be like the whole that's around it. So holons, a holon, everything is a holon, and a holon is a part and a whole. That's the definition of a holon. And everything in the universe is a holon, a part and a whole. You cannot take a pencil is an object, it's its own thing, but it's part of a whole, it's part of an art supplied or tool to write. And so
atoms in the universe.
Yeah, and so everything in the universe is like that. So geometry kind of takes these principles of order out of chaos, and it reveals them to us in a very simple language. And a lot of times people don't get it. People don't get it because it's really simple. It's like a line. What is a line? A line is a connection between 2 points, but a line is also a dividing force. So a line is a single thing that the moment it becomes existent, it creates a duality. So, the ancient Greeks philosophized about this stuff all the time. They were like, well, so the line is a single thing that creates two separate parts. And just that act of dividing, just creating a line, is a powerful thing for those who understand how to interpret it, maybe.
The single points, the 0 dimension, 1 dimension, and 2 dimension are themselves their entire universes, and I cannot wait to fill
Right.
4 hours with you.
Yeah.
We will do that. We will
That'll
talk
be
about
fun.
this in the live. We will